Hey everybody, my name is Stuart Cunliffe. I work for IBM Lab Services, and in this demonstration I'm going to show you how, using Ansible Tower, we can clone an on-premise Power VM LPAR into the IBM Power Virtual Server, our off-prem cloud offering. So the environment we're going to be using is, I've got my Red Hat Ansible Tower VM on the left-hand side, which in turn is connected to IBM Power VC, our on-premise OpenStack solution, which controls our hardware, and it also connected to the IBM Cloud, IBM Power VS, to be able to do our deployment and management into our cloud. So the steps that I will be showing, we have a Red Hat Ansible Tower server, which is gathering its playbooks from GitHub. The user, when they fire off the playbook, they will be asked for the source VM, so the on-premise VM that they wish to clone, which IBM Cloud that they wish to clone it to, and the size and the type of VM that they want to use within that IBM Cloud. What the playbook then does is a number of simple steps. It creates the image of that source VM using the Ansible OpenStack API modules. It then copies that new image to the IBM Cloud object storage using command-based modules. We then import that image into Power VS Catalog using the IBM Cloud Collection modules available in Galaxy. And then we build the new VSI from that imported image, again using the IBM Cloud Collection modules available in Galaxy. Okay, so let's have a quick look at our environment. So this is my Ansible Tower server. I'm going to show one template here that we're going to use, which is the playbook that I want to run. This is my Power VC server, my on-premise Power VC OpenStack server. And if I look for a VM in here, this is the virtual machine I'm going to clone. I'm going to clone application 1. It tells me a bit about it. It tells me the operating system that it's running, the IP address it's on, but also the attached volumes. So you can see here that I've got one 32 gig boot volume and a 10 gig application data volume as well. What I've also shown here is I've got my cloud object storage in IBM Cloud, and I've got my Power Virtual Server based in London 04 data center with a number of VSIs that I've currently got built. Okay, so let me fire off this template that I'm going to use, and it will ask me a few simple questions. So what is the name of the on-premise VM that I would like to clone? So that was the one that we showed here, application 1. So I type in application 1 here. The image I'd like to create, I'm going to just call it application 1, image 1 for ease of use. Then I've got a question. Do you want to actually build the VM off-premise? So if I selected no here, what it would do would be simply to copy the image to the Cloud Object Storage Catalog and leave it at that. What I actually want to do is I do want to build using that new image. What we need now is I need my API key from my IBM Cloud. So I'll just put that in there. It should be hidden. It is. Which off-premise data center do I want to use? So I've got a few configuration files determining which Power VS location I want to use. The name of the VM that I want to build within Power VS. So let's call this application 1 DR. Let's just say we were doing this for DR purposes. What type of server I want to build it in London 04. I'm going to build it on the S922s. And then the size, I'm going to leave this as default, 0.25 cores and 2 gig of memory. Click on next, it tells me preview, and then it's going to go away and launch that playbook. Throughout this playbook, I'll be pausing it because obviously some of these tasks do take some time, and all these tasks could be done manually. I put them in a playbook with Ansible, but obviously we could do them in a manual task. So what we'll see is we'll go on and connect into Power VC using the API tokens, using all the API calls. And what we will see is we will see a new image being built called application 1. There we go. So we can see that one is being built. So we can now see that the OVA, the image, has been created locally, and it's now going to compress that image before it copies it over to the IBM Cloud object storage in the cloud. So we can now see that after the compression, it's now started to copy that image over to our cloud object storage. If I look in my bucket in my cloud object storage, we'll see that something, it says here incomplete upload, so something is uploading. So we know that that image is uploading. So I'll give that a couple of minutes to carry on to complete the upload. So the copy to cloud object storage has completed. It tells me which data center it's used here. So if I check in my cloud object storage, refresh that and filter for application 1, we should see there's my 9 gig image that's being copied over. Now at this point in the playbook, I could have selected to just exit the playbook there because we've got a copy of our image actually in the IBM Cloud Object Storage. But the next part of the playbook that I asked it to go ahead and do was to actually build the VSI from that image. So if I look in my server details at the moment, I can see under my boot images, the first thing it has to do is it has to import the boot image into Power Virtual Server. And here we can see the queuing application 1 image, which has been copied from Cloud Object Storage into my catalog on my Power Virtual Server in my London 04 service. So the playbook will be at that stage now. If we look at here, yep, it says importing, and it's waiting now for that imported image to become available. So if we go back to my slide deck, we're actually at this point now. So we've imported the image into the catalog. The next stage will be to actually build the new virtual server instance from that image. So now it's done the import, it's waiting for that image to become active. So my playbook is just looping, checking the status of that image in cloud. So I'll pause it for a few minutes while it completes that check. So we can see here that the application 1 image has become active. So the next time my playbook loops around, checking that that image is active, it should carry on with the actual build of the VSI using that image. Remember, that image is not only a root volume group, it's also a very small data volume group. Okay, now we have it, it's skipped on because it's active. It's making sure we've got a few key elements or SSH key that I've asked it to place on from my MacBook, and the network that I asked it to build in. It checks that that network exists. It's going to make sure that we don't already have a virtual server instance in the name, which I selected, which was application 1DR. And now it's going to go away and create that VM, that VSI, using the image that I imported across from my on-premise environment. So if we go back into my virtual server instances and I refresh this, we can see it appeared just at the bottom there, application DR, 1DR is in build status. So what I'll do, I will pause this playbook for the last time to let that VSI build. So if we check on the progress of the VSI now, we can see that it is being built, it is activating. We've got the information that we gave it, so we asked it to build it on an S922 using this image, the boot image that we copied across, 0.25 cores and 2 gig of memory. We can also see that we've got the 32 gig boot attached to volume group, and also the 10 gig non-root, the data volume that was part of that image. So the final thing the playbook will do is wait for this instance to become active, connect to it, and then report back the IP address and terminate the playbook. So a quick recap of what this playbook has done. It's connected to my on-premise PowerVC OpenStack environment and taken a snapshot image of an active virtual machine. It's then copied that image across to the IBM Cloud Object Storage. It's then used that image and imported it into my PowerVS catalog and it's then built a new VM, a new VSI from that imported image in my IBM Power VS environment. Okay, so if we click back on the playbook, we can see that it's just finishing off the creation of the Power Virtual Server instance, and then it reports back the public IP address. If we check back on, yep, we can see it's active. That boot image is still in our catalog within Power VS, so if we wanted to use it further on down the line, we could do. Okay, well, thank you very much. I hope you found this demonstration useful. Thank you.